Welcome back to We Heart Therapy. You're watching your guide to therapy and coaching. I'm your host, Anabelle Bugatti, and today we're talking about a very special topic, which is counseling for men and men's issues. We have our special guest, Mark Whelchel. He's a licensed marriage and family therapist here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he's going to talk to us today about counseling for men. Thank you so much for being with us, Mark.
It's great being with you. Thanks.
So talk to our viewers. We have both men and women watching, but can you talk to our men about what keeps them from coming to counseling?
Certainly. I think, when you think about men coming to counseling, there's a few holdbacks. That one being, I think as they grow up, men are not necessarily conditioned to talk about what's wrong. They're more conditioned to, well, let's just fix it. Let's just do something to get it fixed. And I do think, though, kind of a caveat, it's important to, when we're thinking about men as a group or women as a group, that there's a lot of differences amongst men. So, a lot of what I'll talk about is pretty general, but certainly not all men are the same, not all women are the same. But again, I think men are conditioned to just more for action as opposed to talking. I think they have not necessarily grown up with the idea of recognizing their emotions and then speaking about their emotions. And so it creates a roadblock at times.
Yeah. And I know oftentimes when couples come into my practice, I have a lot of men saying, well, if I have emotions or I talk about them, then it's weak. I'm weak if I'm vulnerable. So can you sort of talk to our men about sort of that idea that having deep emotions or expressing them or reaching out for help is a sign of weakness?
Yeah, I think actually the opposite is true. When you recognize that there's something wrong and I need to do something to fix it, that reaching out for help is a sign of strength. It's I'll talk to men, especially in the context of marriage counseling, as doing what is relationally courageous. It takes a lot of courage to face something that is wrong in your marriage and be willing to do work on it.
And even if you're not in a marriage, something that's just happening in your life that may be keeping you from feeling happy or living the fullest life that you could.
Absolutely, yeah. That again, takes courage to walk into a place that I don't, I've never been there, don't know this person. It's a big step. It's a courageous step to seek help for whatever it is that you're experiencing.
Right. That's so wonderful that it really is courageous to really recognize that there's something going on in my life that's holding me back, and having the courage to talk to somebody about it is so important. Yeah. So, what are some of the issues that you find that men really struggle with that maybe are a little more unique to them?
Okay. Well, first of all, I would say I think they struggle with issues that both men and women struggle with. I see plenty of men who have anxiety disorders, depression, just as I've seen with female clients. Some of the things that I think men particularly may struggle with can be related to their sexuality, their careers, and even though women may also struggle with self-esteem, I think a lot of men struggle with that, how they fit and at work or with their friends, and so those are some of the things that I think are unique to them. But again, when I think of the men that I treat, they have a lot of the same issues as women.
Yeah. So do you think that a male client needs to go see a male therapist to talk about their issues?
No, definitely not. I think it's up to the individual of who they feel most comfortable with. Again, I see plenty of men, but we have multiple counselors here, and there's a lot of men who see our female therapists as well. So it's just their level of comfort. I think there might be certain topics that men might feel more comfortable talking about with another man, but by and large, I think it's just their preference.
So wonderful. So How can if a male is, struggling with some issues and they'd like to speak to somebody, how can they find a therapist in their area who might specialize in men's issues?
Yeah, I think the way most people these days find therapists is either through their insurance, going online. Our center here we're a nonprofit Christian counseling center, so a lot of clients come through a pastor's recommendation or a church that's sending them. So whether they're turning to a church, whether they're going online, they can do some research and find somebody that's near them that may take their insurance or be in some way convenient to get to. And I think it's important too for anybody, men or women, that when they're selecting a therapist, feel free to call them. Talk to them on the phone first. See does it seem like a good fit.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that you're a Christian therapist, so if there's a male who is interested in working with you and maybe they're not a Christian, can they still come and see you?
Absolutely, yeah. We see people of any faith background or no faith background. That doesn't matter.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So how can somebody work with you if they'd like to find you?
Well, probably one of the easiest ways would be to just look us up online. We're Renewing Life Center, and it's renewinglifecenter.net, and the scheduling phone number is on there, and we're always open to new clients.
Excellent. So Mark Whelchel, licensed marriage and family therapist here in Las Vegas, Nevada, works at the Renewing Life Center, renewinglifecenter.net. We'll put the link in the drop-down box in the description of this video. Thank you again so much for being with us today, Mark.
Thanks for inviting me.
Anytime. So again, thank you to our viewers for tuning in. I hope that you found this information helpful, and that if you're interested in working with Mark, you'll definitely get in touch with him or find a therapist in your area who can meet your needs. Thank you again for tuning in to We Heart Therapy. Again, I'm your host, Anabelle Bugatti. If you like us, check us out on the web, www.wehearttherapy.com. And of course, more episodes are on the way, so sit tight and stay tuned.